Hello, my name is Edwin Garcia, and welcome back to the Sky the Shy podcast. The Chicago Sky have just beat the Connecticut Sun 86-83, and they are one game away from the WNBA Finals. Come on, you gotta get hyped for this. You gotta be excited. This is why we watch. This is why they play. This is what it's all about. These are the big games in the big moments. Let's hear it for them. Woo! All right. Hopefully that woke you up wherever you are. Usually don't get that kind of hype, but I mean, you have to. You have to right now. It was absolutely amazing. We're going to get into all the details of the game, everything that happened, but overall, that's the sentiment, that's the feeling, that's the excitement all around Chicago. That's the excitement all over the WNBA. Everyone's a buzz. Oh my goodness, the Chicago Sky, after all the ups, after all the downs, after all the mediocrity, after all this team's a super team. When are they going to get it together? Well, lo and behold, they've got it together, and they are one game away from the WNBA Finals. Only the Sky and the Mercury are in such prime position right now. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the game and everything that happened. Then we're going to preview Game 4 in Chicago, potential closeout game, potential WNBA Finals berth happening. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, the things that can happen right, things that can go wrong, and take it from there. Okay, so yes, I'm hyped. Yes, I'm excited. Obviously, it was a positive game. The Chicago Sky won 86-83. But, again, it was a 3-point game, extremely close. It's not like they ran away with it and this whole game was a Chicago Sky celebration. No, it was back and forth. In fact, in every single quarter, a different team won the quarter. In quarter 1, the Connecticut Sun won 21-17. Quarter 2, Chicago Sky won 20-14. Quarter 3, Connecticut Sun won 28-23. And then quarter 4, the Chicago Sky won 26-20. So it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One is, after 3 games, it's pretty clear these teams are kind of close to each other. 2 of the games were competitive throughout. The third one got out of hand in the fourth, but going into the fourth, it was consistent and it was close. So the games have been pretty even. I think that's pretty clear. I don't think anyone thinks Game 4 is going to be an easy win by any means. None of the games have really been easy for any team, win or lose. And I don't think Game 4 will be an exception. But anyway, we're not here to talk just yet about Game 4. Let's get into Game 3. So some of the keys to the game, obviously for the Connecticut Sun, they got another amazing game for Dwana Bonner. She's been absolutely monstrous during this whole series. She's been great. She's been attacking the paint. She hasn't really been to the foul line too much, but she's been attacking the paint. She's been hitting her 3. She was 4 for 5 from 3 tonight, and she dropped 22 points in the game, leading all Connecticut Sun scorers. Alyssa Thomas has also been productive on the bench. I've mentioned before, the bench production is key, especially from the Sun, who are only right now playing about 3 players off the bench. So they really are only going 8 deep. That's as far as they go. No one else is getting any playing time. So Alyssa Thomas scoring 18 points, really, catapulting that defense and being the anchor of that defense to be productive and to ball out with the moments that she is given. She has done so. She's played pretty well. I don't think you can really ask of more from her. She gave you 18, 3 and 3 in 25 minutes of play. She shot a little bit over 50% from the field. What more can you ask from her? I think she played really well. One player who I think you could ask more for is Jonquel Jones. She's had another kind of lackluster game. She only had 10 points. She did have 10 boards, and 8 of them were defensive rebounds. So she was really aggressive on the boards. She did a good job on the boards, but I think offensively, she's just not really doing much there. And when you're the MVP, and I know it's not just an offensive standpoint of the game why she got the MVP, but this team needs buckets. They need baskets. They need you to be dominant, and I don't think she's been dominant enough on the offensive side of the ball. And this is another game where, that was kind of lacking. And I think, again, when we're looking at a game that was decided by 3 points, those little impacts in the margins are really, really going to matter, because that could be what pulls you ahead or what can drop you behind. And we're going to get into that with the Sky as well, because obviously they're on the other side where they actually came out victorious. And with the Sky, it's really clear to me there's one shining star among the stars who has consistently been a star, and that's Kahleah Copper. She is probably the number 1 player I know will have a good game pretty much every game. The other Chicago Sky players, it kind of fluctuates. You know a certain basement for certain players, and the ceiling can be extremely high. But for Kahleah Copper, I think there's only been 1 game in the playoffs where she maybe scored like 13, didn't really do too much, but the team also didn't play well. She was amazing here. 26 points. She led all scorers. She was just so aggressive going to the basket, so aggressive, scoring when she wanted to, scoring when she needed to, getting important and one, plays late in the fourth. She was just a star among stars, and she's been that all season long. And I don't think it surprised anyone that she's leading the team in scoring in a big game like this at home. Azurá Stevens probably had her best game of the playoffs. She's kind of been a bit more pedestrian, kind of just there for her defensive flexibility, and she's just been a solid, consistent starter, and I think she's the best option to be a starter, but she hasn't really shined too much. We haven't really said her name too much on the podcast. She's not really been a player who's stood out good or bad. She's kind of been negligibly fine, but today she's shined. 15 points, 11 rebounds. That's the key. 7 offensive rebounds. Again, offensive rebounds, that's you keeping plays alive. That's you keeping possessions alive, giving your team second chance opportunities. And again, that really matters in a game like this where it was decided by 3 points. She was a plus 16 on the court. That's the best plus minus on the Chicago Sky roster by a wide margin. The closest after her is Allie Quigley with plus 7. So again, shows her impact when she's on the court. We all know this. Anyone watching the games knows that Azurá Stevens has been one of the reasons the team has been good. But this game was particularly special with her offensive production and her defensive, her rebounding in general, and her defense was also very, very strong. And it was just great to see. She was right there 1 minute away from Courtney Vandersloot and leading the team in minutes. She played 36 out of 40 minutes, so she's just out there. Quigley, Stevens, and Vandersloot were out there the whole time. 36, and Vandersloot with 37. So that's the core, and sometimes Parker gets some rest, sometimes Copper gets some rest, but it's consistently been those players, and that's been great to see. And then, of course, Candace Parker. So Candace Parker, for me, it's still been kind of, we haven't gotten those big games yet, but she's done the right things at the right time. With her rebounding, she had 10 rebounds, 10 points, so she had a double-double. And we're going to get into the details of that, fourth quarter, but that was really where she made those kind of championship game-winning plays that I think we all found impressive. So another game from Candace Parker where she played fine, she played well, and of course she's got a tough matchup down there. They got some really good bigs. The Connecticut Sun do that. That's been something we've talked about, and it's been well documented. So she definitely has some of her biggest challenges she's had in the playoffs in this particular series. But still, hey, that's the job sometimes, right? You're not going to have too many easy matchups in the semifinals and moving forward in the finals if they're blessed enough to get there. So, it's a struggle. You're going to have to fight through, and we saw some of that early in the game. We saw that in the fourth quarter when she really stepped up and grabbed some really, really key boards in the game. But those are some of the players from the Sky that kind of shined out to me that I think had some incredible performances. The bench really was, very pedestrian. Again, when you look at those minutes from the starters, 37, 36, 36, 31, 33, that tells you there wasn't much bench play anyway. And, we'll have to wait and see. I think James Wade decides it based on production and based on if someone's hot or foul trouble, things of that nature. And I just feel like no one really played very well. That's the one thing the Connecticut Sun can definitely hang their hat on. Their bench was far and away way more productive, way more beneficial to their team versus the Chicago Sky's bench. The Chicago Sky's bench today was really weak. But, we'll see. It's one game, and hey, your bench didn't play well, and you still won. Again, not every game's perfect. You're not going to hit all your threes, get all the rebounds, reduce turnovers, have the bench play amazing. Like, that's kind of a perfect game. So I understand you're not going to get a perfect game, but hey, these are things to look at, right? Like, the bench could have played better. The bench could have produced better, right? It wasn't like they weren't allowed to do that. They just didn't. They didn't really, shoot very well. They didn't get really any rebounds. Diamond DeShields has all the rebounds from the bench, which was 2, and that's from 4 players playing a combined 26 minutes. So 26 minutes, 4 players, 2 rebounds. I mean, that doesn't really sound amazing. So there's work that can be done. But again, I think overall, not too much to complain about from the Sky. They did a pretty good job, especially those starters. They really balled out and they shined. That's what you really want. I think one of the famous sayings in basketball is for a championship team, you need 8 players who can play and then 5 who can cheer like hell. And I think that's really true when it comes to, you need 8 players that can play and a bench that can cheer like hell. And I think that's you see that with the Sun and the Sky are in kind of in a similar position. They go a little bit farther than 8 out, but when you really think about it and you look at the minutes and how significant those minutes were, it really is just a couple bench players when you get to this level, because there's just such little room for error. And, every possession matters so much, and the other team is so good that you really, really have to have, a very, very solid 8 players who can go the distance. And, it was a little disappointing from the bench, but again, not a big deal. You'll take it with the W. So how did they get the W? Let's talk about that fourth quarter, because to me, that's the key to the game. In the fourth quarter, the score was 63-60. The Sky were actually down by 3, which again, 3 is a very small margin, but hey, you're still walking into the fourth quarter down by 3. And then midway through the fourth, the Sky went on an incredible run. They went on an 8-2 run, and that's really what turned the tide. It took them from down by a handful of points to just down by 1 point. And that was the difference. They closed the gap, and then they made key plays late in the game to get the game. It was 83-84 in the final. I believe it was 16 seconds, and it was just possession after possession where the Connecticut Sun just couldn't capitalize. Brianna January missed a kind of bunny shot near the basket. Joanna Bonner had a personal foul because off of Courtney Vandersloot's defensive rebound. Courtney Vandersloot hit 2 free throws back-to-back, which was really nice. And then Parker hit 1 of 2 as well after that, after she got a defensive rebound. So the Sky just made enough stops late. It was a little sloppy, got a little wacky. There were some turnovers there from the Sky, which I felt like a Hamby Heave flashback when that happened. And they went running down the court, the Sun, but then they missed their shot, got the rebound, hit their free throws. And it's going to get like that sometimes. There's going to be errors. It's going to get sloppy. It's going to get chaotic. And you have to kind of weather the storm. So the Sky did a great job compared to Game 2, where they were right there in the fourth quarter, and then they got, blown out essentially in that fourth and got just absolutely overwhelmed and just destroyed. In this one, it was the opposite, right? Down by 3, kept it close, made a run, closed the gap down, and then they just made enough key plays, enough key baskets, hit your free throws, grab those rebounds. I mentioned those rebounds. They keep your possessions alive, and they kill your opposing team's possession. That's why rebounds matter. No boards, no rings. I've been saying it all playoff long as much as I can. No boards, no rings. And it did a great job with that. And that was really the difference. When you look at a game that was this close with just a few seconds left, it could have still went either way. And, grabbing those rebounds, hitting your free throws, those little details are why the Sky are up 2-1 and not down 1-2. Another thing that's kind of been a debate, and I've been, especially on Twitter, Sky and the Shy on Twitter, I've been talking to a lot of people about is the need for three-point shooting. I mentioned during the game, I'm live tweeting the game, and I'm, sharing my feelings, and I was mentioning they need to hit their threes. They need to go out there and shoot threes, especially during that first half or so. It felt like they were getting, the Sun were getting all the blocks, they were getting all the boards, they were making it really, really tough for the Sky to put pressure on the rim and actually score. It was really tough for them offensively. And I'm like, you need to go out there and try to get some shots, try to get some threes, open up the floor a little bit. And some people pushed back. They said that they didn't think it was a good idea. The team's a three-point shooting team. The team shoots poorly from 3. And while I understand the kind of hesitation there, it's the best way to open up that floor. Make them honest. Stretch them out. Force them to close out. And if they don't close out, you punish them with 3. I think you have to shoot a little bit more from the three-point line. And they did a good job from that. They held their own. They went 9 for 20 from 3, 45%. That's great. I'll take that every day. I'm actually just hoping for 36-40. That's around the range that I think you can win the game at, shooting at that kind of clip. And at 9 out of 20, 45%, that's exactly the same as the Sun did. See, you matched them. You kept them there. You kept them honest. You stayed on top of them. They had to respect your three-point shooting. So I think that was a really, really great job from them. Great job from players like Quigley, who were hitting their threes. Copper again, 3 from 6 from 3, so she was at 50%, and Quigley again 4 for 7, so she was really on fire. And that's the kind of work you need done if you want to win these kind of games. You have to hit your threes, you have to shoot the threes, you can't be afraid to do it, and you have to be effective. And they were. Another thing they were really effective on in the long term was rebounds. I didn't think there'd be any game the Sky would out-rebound the Sun. But lo and behold, here it is, 35-30. And when you look at that game, the final 2 or 3 rebounds of that game closed that game out and decided. So they really did need to edge them out late because that was the deciding factor. So phenomenal job. Kudos to the Sky. I did not think they would be able to out-rebound the Sun. I was just hoping for be only 2 or 3 away in the rebounding battle, and I think that would be good. So the fact they were a +5 in that category, that was amazing. That was a great job from the Sky. And again, that did decide the game because they got those late rebounds, which, secured the victory. All right, so here we are. Game 3 is over. The Sky are up 2-1. Remember, it's a best of 5, first to 3. That's how it works. And the Sky are now up 2-1, and they have one more home game, Game 4 in Chicago. And man, it's going to be electric. I'm really glad I'm not hoping the Sun win because I cannot imagine the feeling. Look at all the accomplishments. They only lost 6 games in the regular season. They got Coach of the Year. They got the MVP of the league, and they had the best record. And everyone's always saying, oh, you guys are front runners. I don't know. In the playoffs, you always crumble like a cookie in milk. And here you are. It's happening again. Now, again, you give the Sky a lot of credit. It's not like they're just, the Sun aren't choking. They're playing pretty good basketball. It's just the team in front is playing just a little bit better, right? Just enough to pull off that double overtime win. Just enough to squeeze out a 3-point, home game. But again, that's what you need right now. Just win, right? You just got to figure it out. And the Sky have figured it out. The Sun haven't quite done it. And that's the difference in this series. So, the pressure is definitely going to be on them. And I don't know what they're going to do if they don't win this series here. It's hard to imagine you'll ever have a team this good playing that well going into it. You got the double bye and if you only muster one win in a series, it's tough. Even if the context of the Sky being better than what their record is based on the talent on the roster, it's still going to be a tough pill to swallow. So we'll see what happens here. Obviously, still a long way to go. I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Sun win Game 4 and then Game 5. Hey, they're at home. Good luck beating the Sun at home. It's going to be a difficult job. So they still have a good opportunity. But again, you can't feel good being down 1-2. You're supposed to be taking care of business, and you didn't take care of home court. You lost the first game, and you have a game here, and now their season is legitimately on the line. If they lose, it's over. If the Sky lose, they still have another opportunity. The Sun don't have any more opportunities. This is it. This is the season. This is the series. This is everything. So it'll be interesting to see how well they respond, how aggressive they are, and how the Sky kind of counteract that. So with that being said, let's get into Game 4, previewing it for the WNBA semifinals. So Game 4, as I mentioned before, it's going to be on Wednesday in Chicago at Wintrust Arena at 7 p.m. CT. So that's the time of the game. It's going to be really interesting to see if the Sky can pull this off. It's their final home game, and they have a chance to close out the Sun. So again, I think the keys to the game are going to be the same as they've been. You have to try to get the rebounding battle close, keep your turnovers down, hit your threes. In terms of individual play, I'm looking for a little bit more from Candace Parker. We need a little bit more offense. She has some really great plays. I love that little finger roll play she did, I think in the first quarter. That was amazing. But we need a little bit more for her. And can we get another great Diamond DeShields game? I feel like we get a really good Diamond DeShields game every 3 or 4 games. And we got one earlier, so I wonder if we've already used them all up for this round. But I really hope we get one. I think those are the difference makers as well. When Diamond DeShields is on, this team just becomes overwhelming. It's just one too many players, clicking on all cylinders for most teams to overcome. So I'm really hoping that she brings it and she can perform well. Obviously, we just don't have any idea on that. It's kind of, I wouldn't say just a dream or a hope because she has the talent, but I just can't bank on it. And I'm really hoping that this is the one. I'm going to cheer for Diamond DeShields in the Sky uniform as long as that's happening because I want her to do well. And we know what her ability is. We've seen it many times. It's just been hard this year. And I'm hoping we get another good game here to lead us to a WNBA Finals berth, which that did not seem logical a month ago. But here we are. And again, but we did know that, like I said, this team was very good. We all were aware of this. And they're finally reaching some of their potential. I still don't think I've seen an extremely good game from the Sky. I think for me to see an extremely good game, it would be what I described. Parker playing a bit better and then Diamond also stepping up. Then I think we would be getting a Sky team that was kind of at its max. So that's what's scary for the league. This isn't even them perfect. They have room. I've seen them play better this year. I think that Seattle Storm game and that Aces win were probably the best I've seen them play. Better than these games even. So I've seen it. I've seen the heights this team can reach, and it's just a matter of can they reach them? And if they don't, can they do enough of the little things to win? Little things, getting the rebounds, hitting your free throws. That was important. Vandersloot hit a couple. Parker split hers. But those things really, really matter, especially at the end of a game, when the pressure's on. Can you execute on that simple task without, crumbling from the pressure of the moment? We've seen it with any players on any team in any sport. It's really, really hard when that pressure's on to execute on those kind of plays. And the Sky did just enough to win, and that's championship basketball. So we'll see if they're actually able to reach the WNBA Finals. So the next time we are live on the pod here, it will be after Game 4. Hopefully, we're celebrating a WNBA Finals berth and either previewing the final a little bit because we'll have the other team known, or they have a Game 5 and that means the Sky would get even more rest. We'll see. Or the Sky will have Game 5 winner take all at the Connecticut Sun's home on Friday. So that's kind of where we're looking at here. There's 1 to 2 games left of this series. It's been an absolute barn burner the entire time. It's been very entertaining, and I'm just happy the Sky are on top so far, but still a lot of work to do. Again, won by 3 points. Every game going into the fourth quarter was extremely, extremely close. So I expect the same thing to happen on Thursday, and it'll just depend on the details. Can you hit your threes? Can you get the boards? Can you not turn the ball over? Can you hit your free throws? Those are the things that are going to be key, and hopefully we can get better production from the bench because the Sun are getting their production from the bench. Those 3 players they have are doing just enough, and our bench needs to step up a little bit and be a little more consistent here. So hopefully Diamond DeShields can help with that. We know she has the ability, but it's just a matter of if she'll be able to do it on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. Again, Sky won 86-83. They're up 2-1, 1 game away from the second WNBA Finals berth in Chicago Sky history. Like I've said before, every game now we get to historic levels. That's how good, that's how big these games are. Every game is like the biggest game in the team's history happening. It's in that top 10 conversation of the biggest games in team history. And this one very much is. It's a chance for you to clinch WNBA Finals berth, which, like I said, only happened once before. So winning this game would be absolutely historic and put you one step away from a championship, which, again, would be absolutely amazing. So we'll see what happens. And either way, we'll be talking about it on the podcast here and recapping Game 4 and either previewing Game 5 or previewing the WNBA Finals matchup / talking about the Chicago Sky making the WNBA Finals. I'm so excited. We'll see what happens, and I'll talk to you then.